There you go. We are live again with Cold Call Battle. Thank you so much, everyone who is joining in one more time for Cold Call Battle. I'm super excited as always. I don't know, this is probably my fifth, sixth, seventh Cold Call Battle that I'm hosting on behalf of Outplay. And every single time it's a new learning, and that's what I'm here for. And happy to have some amazing guests, right? Jacob and Mike are with us today for Cold Call Battle, right? Because we believe this, we believe in learning from the best in the business while we learn, implement them in our day-to-day sales jobs and get those meetings, get those pipeline filled, right? And that's why we are here today. I'm Praveen from Outplay. Outplay, a modern sales engagement tool. Sales engagement combined with conversation intelligence, a must-have for every sales rep, every sales leader to coach sales reps as well. I often get asked this question. You have a tool for outbounding, for prospecting. So why do you host cold call battle? Quite simple, right? Outplay as a tool can streamline processes. It can make the job of a sales rep lot easier. But then a sales rep needs to have the right skills. They need to have the right playbook. And the cold call battle is just to enhance those skills, right? In the current economic scenario, the best way to get leads is calling, right? I mean, what better way than to call, have a human connect with your prospect on the other side? Even if you probably don't land up in a meeting, you at least have a conversation with somebody rather than a cold email getting you a negative response, right? So let's go ahead and then improve our calling skills. And I hope to do that as well in this call, right? So we have amazing guests today. Just a quick rule here, we aren't calling real prospects. Each of these people that you see on the screen today will pitch their product to the other. We'll have a couple of rounds. And what's interesting is the audience will select the winner for the day, right? Now, without any further delay, I'm going to quickly introduce our guest today. We have Jacob. Jacob handles growth at ServiceBell. Welcome, Jacob. Welcome to Cold Call Battle.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Jacob, one quick question. I see that you also coach people on cold outreach. Yeah. What do
hmm
you think is the first skill that any SDR, BDR must have or must develop when they start prospecting or when they start outbounding?
Oh, that is a really good question. Um, the first skill. Wow. Okay. I think it's going to be a get it done attitude because um, at the end of the day, like no one's going to be good on their first call, and nobody wants to make their first call, and nobody wants to build a list, and nobody, it's scary to pick up the phone, especially.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, nothing else really matters if you don't just try and make your list, make 100 calls a day, and iterate and improve and
Yeah.
bias towards action. I used in my coaching days, I'd say my biggest pet peeve was after a week of like we had a call. I tell them do this, and then they come back next week, and I'm like, "How's it going?" And they're like, "Well, I didn't do it. I'm sorry." And I was like, "Well, why not?" And they're like, "Well, I had to go to the gym." I'm like, "What does that have to do with anything?" I also go to the gym. You know what I mean? So people would just they wouldn't do anything, and they'd ask me for advice on a script they never sent or a call they never made. And
Yeah.
you can't improve when you don't have anything to work with. So I would just say
Absolutely.
pick up the phone, start calling, and if you get rejected, fine, improve, and go from there.
Yeah. Break the inertia, right? I mean, that's very, very important. Awesome. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks once again for joining in Cold Call Battle. We have Mike. Mike is the managing director at Global Talent Resources, recruiter and managing director, right? So he's an energy man, meaning he talks about wind, solar energy, and recruits for those kinds of profiles. He's an electrical engineer by the academics, but a sales guy by heart. Isn't it true, Mike?
Yes, it is. That's right. That's right. So thank you for
Lovely.
having me, and I look forward to it. I've spent a lot of time cold calling, and even now as I have a team and so forth, I still end up making calls, and so anyway, I look forward to it. So
Mike,
thanks
curious.
again.
I mean, I did see your profile, vast experience in sales, and like you said, you've been calling for several years. So why did you decide to participate today in Cold Call Battle?
Well, you know what? I had a guy, a gentleman named Bill Brower, a number of years ago, who taught me how to call CEOs and C-level people and all those sort of things. And he spent a lot of time with me giving back, and he really didn't have to. And that's always been on my mind. I mean, I'm not an expert at it, but I think I've done it enough that I know a few things. And so if I can give a couple nuggets back, then so be it. And so that's why I thought, why not? Let's just do it. But anyway, so I'm here and look forward to it.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks so much for participating today. And yes, we all look forward to those nuggets, those nice learnings from you. What's interesting about cold calling always is that everybody has their own style. Everybody develops a style, right? And that's what we're going to see today as well from these two amazing people. But one thing in common, for all those, who just joined in, welcome once again to Cold Call Battle. And before we started this live show, I had a backroom chat with both of them, and one thing in common, they are staying positive, right? I asked them one simple question: how do they handle the so-called recession that people talk about, or the economic slowdown? But they said, just get up and do the job, right? I think staying positive is super important. Every single day, wake up and say, hey, I'm going to get the deal today. Hats off to you guys. I think that's the first learning for all those who are joining in today. All right, a quick set of rules once again. Like I said, we are not calling real prospects. We're going to call each other, right? Jacob is going to call Mike the first round, and then Mike pitches his product, which is Global Talent Resources, to Jacob. Typical cold call. So you probably, one of you can, you can. So if Jacob is calling Mike, do the tring tring so that you know that you're going to start the call. And after every call, we'll discuss in detail. We'll do a debrief as to what could have been done better, what went wrong, what was good, and so on. Because those reflections of the call is what are those amazing bits of learnings that all of us are going to have, right? And we go to do a couple of rounds, and at the end of all those rounds, like I said earlier, the audience will pick a winner, right? And the winner will be solely based on what the audience feel today's winner is. That's about it, right? And of course, before you start the call, I would like you also to tell what are the persona that you're calling. So, Jacob, when you're pitching ServiceBell, you're probably going to say, what is the persona you're going to call? And at that time, I kind of go backstage. All right. I leave the floor to both of you. All right. All right. Okay. So let's start cold call battle. Can we have some drum rolls, please? All right. So, like I said, round one, Jacob calling Mike. Over to you guys. I'm going backstage. And once you're done, let me come back. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mike. I could tell you what percent I usually call, but I think I could probably think of a pitch for you in your role right now.
Okay.
So I could just call you as a recruiter. I typically call sales leaders or marketers at seed stage to Series B, SaaS startups with inbound traffic that are on HubSpot, etc. But I can see a use case for you, so I'll just make it up as I go. That's cool.
Okay, perfect. Yeah? Let's do it.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna bias towards action here. Let's get the ring going. This is my first time using this pitch. We'll see how it goes. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Mike, Jacob from ServiceBell. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well, man. This is a cold call. If you want to hang up on me, I totally get it. But if you want to give me 30 seconds to tell you why I'm calling, that would also be that'd also be
okay.
Nice.
Okay. Well, listen, I've only got a few minutes here. So who'd you say you're with? I'm sorry.
With ServiceBell, as in ding. Yeah. Okay. The reason I'm calling you is, from what I understand, it's quite hard to find talent right now. So I'm guessing you have plenty of people that want to hire, but not enough people that are able to staff. So I have a product that can let you know when a candidate is on your website and they're considering signing up or getting in touch. And then you can actually just call them and get them into a live call right there on the spot before they leave. So just curious for you right now, how you're currently finding candidates. And
it's so is it a software you have to buy, or is this a monthly thing, or like what do you how do we, is that something that, tell me more about that. I guess I'm curious because that is, something we're interested in.
Yeah, it's monthly subscription. It's agent based, but you got unlimited calling. So, I'm curious. Like, really, would only be valuable for you if you have people on your site. Do you think that? I mean, how do you currently source candidates right now?
Well, as everyone uses LinkedIn, that's one tool, but we have a proprietary database. So, we've built it over 15 years. We've got a lot of people. We use some of the other software tools that are out there to, find. They all end up, it seems like, scraping from LinkedIn. But, we do get some people on our website, that apply to jobs and so forth. So,
Right.
yeah.
Interesting. So, essentially, it sounds like you have a large database of candidates that you're going after, mostly maybe calling or trying to use LinkedIn, but you do have some people on your site.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I don't know if we use a lot of different tools, so I really don't know if this would be good for us. And it may be better for one of my team members that does more things with some of our technology, maybe to send you there, kind of thing.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't handle tech. I might be calling up the wrong tree.
They ask me not to typically. I tend to damage things, so
I'm right there.
I'm not usually the right guy. So I love them when they work, but man, don't ask me to hook it up. So
the chair that I'm sitting on now is broken. I also break things, so it's all good. I hear. So if you don't handle tech, what do you handle? Do you handle the calling team, or what's your?
Well, so yeah, I lead the organization, and I'm helping set the strategic direction for our company. Where we're focused, our clients, and then usually the back end of deals. That's where I kind of get involved and so forth. And then if there's a new market we're attacking, so I'm less about the technology and I'm more about some of those things.
I hear.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like I'm barking up the wrong tree over here. What, I guess, maybe I'm curious, what are just so I can learn from this for the future, so I don't make the same mistake twice. What are you focusing on now in terms of a company? Is it sourcing talent, or what is kind of your main goal now?
Well, yeah, we're very focused in power, and so there's certain markets that we're attacking. Our focus is how to make sure we're the market master, if you will. So how do we know everybody in that space? How do we get to find them? How do we know all the companies, all the players, all the engineers, that sort of thing? Our ongoing problem is we have more things to work on than we have engineers. So we're always looking for ways to find more engineering talent. So certainly if your tool could help do that, then I would recommend you talk to maybe one of our team members on how that might work. So,
well, considering that you are considering it seems like you're at least leading the strategic initiative, the tech would only work if it aligned with your vision. So I would say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I know that you probably don't want to commit to a 30-minute demo because you have so many things going on.
Probably not.
So what I would recommend instead is if you have 30 seconds and you go to ServiceBell.com, I could just call you and show you, and you would be able to see exactly how this works, and you'd be able to see why it would be so valuable for you to pounce on this hot talent while they're on your site before they leave. Because for us internally at ServiceBell, I'll tell you a quick story. One of our engineers left, and we were looking for a new one, and I got an alert that someone from Lattice, which is a huge tech company, was on our careers page. So I called him with ServiceBell, and he was like, "Whoa, this is sick." And he ended up getting into a 10-minute call with us, and he ended up getting hired. And he told me on the call he probably wouldn't have applied if I didn't call him, but once he saw that experience, he was so excited to work with us he couldn't resist. So if you have 30 seconds now, I'd be happy to give you a quick. You could see it in action, or if you think that now's not a good time and you'd rather maybe talk tomorrow or the next day, we could schedule some time.
Yeah. Again, I'm probably going to take a pass on it. But what I might do, though, is I'd love to connect you with one of my team members who does more in the technology. I mean, it does sound intriguing. Again, I usually don't get involved. I'll have them look at technologies and bring it my way, but they're probably the better person, to have you talk to.
Would that be Amy?
Yeah, it could be Amy. Amy could be the right individual to connect with. So
what would be the best way for me to get on her radar?
If you want, you can send me an email, and what I will do is reply back, and I'll copy her on it, and then I'll step out of the middle of it, and you guys can, set up a time or a demo kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I do have a question, Jacob. You mentioned something which on one hand is super cool, because you mentioned that while the person was on your site, they looked at your info and you were able to call them right away. I guess my question is, does that spook some people? Like, it freaks them out a little bit, like, whoa, so is that, have you found a negative side of that?
Mike, you're asking the question I hear all the time. And the answer is, it depends, as always. And I'd love to show you, if you want to see how spooky it is, and if you go to ServiceBell.com, I could just call you and show you. And you get an idea if it's too spooky for you or not. There are ways to mitigate that. You can turn off video, you can do chat to start, but there's nothing. It's like getting Zoom on your website, and you're not going to have a faster way to source talent than catching them at the peak of their interest while they're checking out your site, looking at your hiring page, etc.
Okay. Well, again, I mean, I'm gonna probably delegate to one of my team members, and so if you send me an email, I'll forward it on to you, or I'll reply back to you, and then I'll copy them, and I'll have you get set up with them and run with it, if that works.
Okay. All right, Mike. Sounds good.
Thanks for your time, Jacob.
All right, Mike. Easy. Bye.
See ya.
Not so easy. You're a tough prospect, man. All right. I'm gonna give it back to you pretty hard when we get.
All right, man. Hey, that's good. That's good. So yeah.
Praveen, you're
awesome. The battle is getting heated up. All right. Okay. Yep. No, but Jacob, a quick one. Was this really the first time you had this pitch?
Yeah.
Hey, that was smooth. Definitely smooth.
Right? We usually don't sell the recruiters, so I just made it up on the spot. Usually we sell different.
No, that was good. And to be fair, I mean, if I get one of these calls today, that really is how I am, because I don't want to get hooked into it, and because then I got to go sell my team on it. So I always reverse it. But I think you did a great job working through it, because you didn't give up. So
right. I asked like 5 different ways. Typically, what I'll do is, I think, just to kind of is this like a time where I would share it, or we share feedback, or what?
Sure. Yeah. No. Absolutely fine. I mean, we could go this way as well. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Essentially, I would say, so a few things happen there. I think aside from this, just you're not really my ICP, but let's say you were, and they say, send me an email or whatever. Generally, what I'll do is, my product is insanely visual, and it's novel. It has a wow factor. It's like a live video chat on the site. So when people see it, they're like, whoa, this is really cool. And usually they'll go and book a meeting. So my whole cold call strategy is hook them in just enough to kind of lean in and ask a question like Mike did, like, how does it work? Or is it creepy? Or is this or that? And then I go, look, the thing about a meeting is you have to build up the value of taking the meeting relative to the pain of taking the meeting. And so by saying, just go to my site, I'm trying to decrease the cost of the call to action and increase the immediate value relative to the action. So that way, when they go to the website, that's my call to action. And then I let this product speak for itself. So generally speaking, if I can get them on the site and the call starts, they're so amazed, they generally will book a meeting unless it really is a bad fit. So that's kind of my whole cold call strategy. And then as far as the objections, when I ask
Jacob, I mean, sorry to interrupt you. That's because your product is visual, and you can do that in a cold call, right? Otherwise, it may not be possible. Correct?
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend most people do that.
Exactly.
But unless they have ServiceBell on their site. But the other thing is, send me an email, or those kinds of things. I think usually in that case, I didn't keep pushing, because it did seem like there's fake objections and there's actual just issues. And I feel like Mike said, that wasn't actual, like, I'm not even going to deal with this. So I just had the wrong person. And as a sales rep, you have to be able to tell if they're bluffing or if they actually are the wrong person, and you're just being a jerk at this point So you kind of have to take a hint and like go with the flow. So that's why I just kind of laid down and, all right, we'll move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, just by involvement, you can actually find out if it's a fake one, or is it true, right? Is it something real?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, hey, one thing, Jacob, you said, or I said, hey, I'll send me an email and I'll reply back. One thing, even though that's what I said, I may or may not do that. I may forget. I may not do it. So one thing you may do is just take control. Like I tell you what, I'll send it, and then who's the person? I'll follow up with it. And if you take me out of the middle of it, all of a sudden, like, that's great. Yeah, absolutely, go for it. So
Yeah.
anyway, yep, yep. I mean, yeah, if you can do that, then, it's like, okay, I already like this guy. So then I'll say a good word like, hey, Amy, Jacob's going to call you. It should be great. So,
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Just remove friction from the prospect as much as possible.
Yeah.
Remove work. It's not their job to get your meeting booked.
Right.
Mike, just one question to you, right? Jacob was asking you for 30 seconds to quickly show you the product. Did you feel that it was too pushy, or you were still okay with that? Because I think he asked almost 3 times.
Yeah, I think this is my opinion is I'm in the middle of my day. I have a whole plan. I'm working through it, and you're calling me out of the blue, and you want me to stop everything and jump on a video and look at it. I'm just not going to do it. It could be the best thing. It could bring me 1,000 candidates today, and I'm probably still not going to do. That's just me. Now, if I like it though, I will set a time. But I'm like, because you know how it is. 30 seconds turns into 25 minutes. And if I've got meetings and I've got this, and then now all of a sudden you're going to make me make decisions really quick. And I'm going to have to say, okay, I've had 15 minutes. I've looked at it. I don't see what I need. I'm not interested. Versus if I set a time up, then I'm a little bit more open to, okay, you've got me. I've got 30 minutes. Take me through it. Show me all of it. Instead of like, hey, I just showed up on your line. Let's get on a call. Just like, I'm not doing it. So
lovely. No, but one of the amazing thing I liked about Jacob is, humor, right?
Yes.
I mean, he said,
Yep.
My chair is broken or some such thing. I mean, it really tells people, for all those listeners out there, right? I mean, it's important that you remember it's not always about booking meetings or getting them for a call. It's about having that conversation. I feel most of the times, most reps forget that they're actually talking to a human, right? It's a conversation that they need to have, right? And their outcome is always meeting. If I don't get a meeting, if don't get the response, they kind of like, okay, let me cut it short and then go to the next prospect. You never know. Like in this case, I mean, that humor kind of, gave a chuckle for Mike as well. And then he was okay to continue the conversation, right? Though, like you said, he was not the ICP. I think that's something that all of us definitely need to keep in mind. Wherever possible, add humor, ensuring it's not forced, and it wasn't forced, right? That was something I really liked about it, right?
Yeah,
awesome.
I was going to say too, Jacob, I just liked how it was very personable. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't robotic. It wasn't. It was just like, hey, here I am. Here's what I got. You interested? So that was good.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
But just one warning for all those first-time callers: do not do what Jacob did today. Do not try your first pitch on the real prospect. Practice that for a couple of times. Get to the right ICP, because a lot of times, I mean, not in this case, we know that it's a mock one, and Jacob is not going to land a call in a non-ICP persona. But do your homework, get to the right persona, practice your pitch before the call a couple of times, so that you're you need not be scripted, but you're at least having a good start. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. All right, let's reverse roles right now. So, Mike, you're going to call Jacob. So, you can probably tell him what is the persona you're going to be calling, and over to you guys. Let me go backstage.
Perfect. All right, Jacob. So I'm going to call you, and I'm just going to pretend that you're a vice president of maybe engineering at a power company. Okay, and go from there. So,
what are some of my biggest pains?
Not enough talent. Projects that you can't get done or can't get done on time, and so forth, or you're having to delay things and so forth, or you personally are having to do work that you haven't done in 20 years because you're short on talent. So,
right.
Okay.
So essentially, not enough talent, and it's taking up my day because I'm having to fill in.
Yeah, and it's costing time and money because you've got projects that need to get done, and reliability issues on from a power perspective and that sort of thing. So
I'm about to be the perfect persona for you then.
All right, good. So, all right, you ready?
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So, ring. Hello.
Hey,
Jacob.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Jacob. This is Mike Ellis with GTR. Have I caught you at a bad time?
Not a great time. I mean, But
Great. Okay. Well, listen, hey, I'm calling Jacob. I lead a recruiting firm. We're focused exclusively in power, and we do a lot of engineering and leadership roles, really work all around the country. And the reason for my call actually is our research team had noticed that we've been doing a lot of work for some of your very competitors, helping with engineering and leadership talent for those key and critical roles, but we're not doing anything with you guys. And so I've kind of made it a mission of mine to see if I couldn't connect with you, maybe your company, and see if we could help. So the reason that I'm calling right now is to see if we could set up a time, later this week, possibly Monday, Tuesday next week, just for 20 minutes. I'd love to tell you more about who we are and what we do and how we do searches, that sort of thing. Would that be something that we could look at?
I don't know. These recruiting agencies, I've never had good luck with them. I feel like they always give me bad talent. And, I'm too busy. I've got so much going on now. I don't know if it was worth me taking the time.
I get it, Jacob. I mean, there's a lot of them that do it badly, and I'm here to try and clean up the mess. So, we do things a little bit different. We're very niche focused for one. We specialize just in this area. So if you were just an example, you call and say, hey, we need an accountant, I tell you, we can't help you. Hey, if I need a financial, some sort of person, I would say, again, we can't help you. So we're very niche focused. And I would love to just explain about how we help other clients, much like yourself, if you had just a couple minutes.
I don't know. I'm at this point, I'm doing work that I shouldn't even be doing. I feel like I'm feeling pretty underwater right now. I'm not sure if more time out of my day would be helpful. I mean, I don't, aside from being niche focused, like what else do you guys do that's different than every other recruiter? How do you get, I get people that come in that are like, I get, ex-cons. I get people that aren't really qualified, people that just seem like, I just don't like, I don't like the talent that I'm getting. So first of all, sit through a sales pitch. And then after that, to deal with candidates that aren't qualified, it just doesn't make sense to me. So unless you have something unique about you that would change my mind, I'm not sure if it's a fit.
Well, here's what I would say. I mean, we are unique in that we've been dedicated to this space for 15 years. So we won't waste your time. We absolutely understand what a good engineer looks like in your space. And we're not going to send you a fork truck driver. You're just not going to get those. We will weed those out. And all I want to do is just show you briefly how we work. Now, I'm assuming you may do some of the hiring, you may not. But what I would love to do is just simply get your blessing that, hey, these guys may be good. And then I'm guessing you're probably going to send me on to, your HR folks and so forth. And it's always works better when we have your blessing versus if I just start at the HR, because sometimes, they don't have the value or they don't see where you're coming from and your perspective. So that's why I just simply want to get your perspective on, what's most important to you, where's the pain, and how can we best help you?
How many candidates could you get for me? How many engineers could you get for me in the next?
I wish I could give you a number, but I can't. It's going to depend on what you need. If you need a 10-year guy, a 20-year guy, a PE, a no PE, if you need him to have SCADA experience or distribution automation, it all varies. And is it remote or will they come to your office? So, probably less than you think. If you said, get me 10 people, I'd probably tell you we can't. We're going to find you something less. So anyway, but that's what I'd love to understand more about, what are your urgent critical roles that you can't seem to get filled? Maybe you've tried different methods and so forth.
Okay. Let's do 15 minutes next week.
All right, cool. Can you do Monday? I'm just looking, I could do 10:30 or 11. Would that work?
11 is better.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to send you a calendar invite. So you should have it. Is that good?
Yeah, I just accepted. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. All right. Thanks for your time, Jacob. I'll look forward to talking to you more for a few minutes.
Good job.
Right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So Jacob, tell me what made you accept the meeting?
I think the reason I accepted it is not necessarily because of anything on the cold call. I just have so much pain. Meaning, I think in some cases, like, I think his market is such a good market because just like he has problems getting talent, so do I. And like, I just have to say yes. Really, what salespeople forget to understand is that it's really a lot more about the product and the offer and the market than the person. You can have the best sales rep in the world, but if you're selling, if you're selling ice to an Eskimo, they're not going to buy it. But if you're selling like a heater to an Eskimo, then they will buy it. So, I think that's really the main reason. I actually have to jump out. Neighbors asked me to move my car. I'm blocking their driveway apparently. So
Sure.
I'll be right back. But I'll let Mike break down the call in my absence. And then
Okay.
Right. Okay. So while we are at it, what we'll do, Mike, is that I'll be your persona, right? So you can call me if you don't mind one more time, right?
Okay.
But before that, I mean, anything else you would like to add to the call that you did, right? I mean, you kind of nailed the pain point, yeah. I think that's what, like how Jacob was saying, I think that's what was kind of, getting him to accept a meeting, right?
Right.
Do you also believe in, how much you talk versus how much the listener talks?
Yeah, I think if I have to talk too much, I'm probably going to lose out because then I just become this salesy, I'm almost throwing up on you on the phone. And I don't want to do that because if I'm doing that, I'm not actually hearing what's the problem.
Yep.
And, if I'm not letting you talk, then, that doesn't happen. So I want you to talk. I want you to tell me what's keeping you up at night and, those sort of things. So
absolutely. Right. I mean, I think that's another thing, right? People want to take that 30 seconds or 60 seconds that they get and they want to, kind of push everything that's in their mind saying that my product does this. Two things they fail to understand: what are the pain points and the fact that am I as a person are really looking for it, right? Am I the right person? Like you said, though the ICP might be right, for all you know, in my company, I might not be the decision maker. It could be somebody else, right? Yeah. So again, we need to be careful there. Awesome. All right. So before we move on, a quick reminder to all the audience out there, please, continue watching and decide who's going to be the winner for this call battle. And please do leave your comments. It's important that you put your comments. If you have questions, please feel free to drop your questions as well. Very happy to take them on. Either myself or Jacob or Mike will be happy to answer your questions. All right. The next round, we'll just quickly do a little different. For both of you, I'm going to be the one receiving the call. All right. Same personas, VP of Engineering, and Jacob, maybe this time your persona is a salesperson, right? A sales head. Yeah, sales head at Outplay.
You'd be the perfect person for me to cold call for ServiceBell. So I'm going to give you a good pitch. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Do you want to go first then?
I'll let Mike go first.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then, Jacob, I'm going to push you backstage for now. Mike, you will call me VP of Engineering, correct?
Yeah, let's do it different. Let's do this one where Praveen, you are a manager of engineering, and I'm actually calling to recruit you. Okay. I want to see if you're interested in another position. How about that?
All right. Let's go.
Okay. Let's try that.
I wouldn't know much about that, but yeah, let's give it a shot.
All right. So here we go. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Praveen, this is Mike Ellis with GTR. How are you today? Am I catching you at a bad time?
No, Mike. What's it about?
So, hey, Praveen, I'm calling. I actually lead a recruiting firm, and we specialize in power delivery. We do a lot of engineering and leadership roles. And really the reason for my call, Praveen, is someone on one of our research team individuals had found your info, and it looked like you potentially have great set of skills and could be a great fit for a couple different roles that we're working on. And so I really wanted to see if you and I could set a time. I know I'm just jumping on your line here in the middle of the day, but I wanted to see if we could carve out maybe 15, 20 minutes, tell you a little bit more about, what we do, but more importantly about this organization that's looking for a person like you. And so, again, I just wanted to see if you could, give up 15 minutes at a better time. I know, you probably got 100 things to do now, but perhaps later today or in the evening. Would that work?
Mike, how did you get my number?
Praveen, great question. You know what? I stopped asking because my team has all these tools. They come up with phone numbers and names. I've kind of boiled it down to, it's kind of like eating hot dogs. You love eating hot dogs, but you don't want to know how they're made. And I don't want to know how they got your name or number. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but I would love to talk to you.
Okay. But I'm not really looking for a change right now. I'm not too sure why your research team picked my profile and gave it to you.
Well, I understand. And listen, I mean, most of the time we're talking to candidates like yourself. They're passive. They're really not looking. They're doing their job and so forth. But what we do is really make opportunities. We bring them to the forefront. We let you know what's out there. Let you know, are you getting valued right? Or are you making the right money? Do you have the right opportunities? And so I understand you're not looking, but I would love to just even tell you a glimpse of here is a possibility and what we do and, how it potentially matches up with what you do and your skills.
So you said one of your customers is looking for a leadership, profile. Do you
Yeah.
mind
So
naming them? Do you mind naming the company
Well,
who's
I'd love to
looking
tell you
for?
it at the appropriate time, but what I can
Mhm.
tell you is they're a very large utility. They're in the New York, New Jersey area. If I said their name, you would probably know them. You may even have a bill from them. I don't know. But anyway, here's part of why I'm calling is just to understand where you're at. I know you're a manager of engineering right now, correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Well, this opportunity actually is a director of engineering. We also have another role that's a VP of engineering. So it could potentially be a next step for you in your career progression. And so you may or may not be interested, but I would love to, again, just make you aware of what's out there.
Would it be worthwhile that I wait for my next promotion here, which is just 2 months away? Because I might potentially be a director or VP of engineering in my own firm.
Yeah, I mean, great question. I don't know all the specifics, but what I would say, certainly, if you can always stay at your current company and get that next promotion, you're probably best. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but I would say just offhand, if you had an opportunity, it's a great place. You love your company, you love your boss, then maybe it does make sense. But I always say, you don't know what you're comparing it against if you don't hear us out. And so I would love to at least tell you what's out there. The comp range, the progression, those sort of things. And so that's why I'd love to talk to you.
So during the call, I get to know the company, the position, and the
Yeah,
responsibilities that come with that.
absolutely. Yep. Yep. Usually what happens is I'll tell you who the company is, and then we'll decide if that makes sense. I can tell you more about them. But the company has hired us as a confidential, ask us to keep their name confidential until the appropriate time. So that's why we, hold back at this moment.
Are you also vendors for our company? Because I'm a little worried that my HR team would know that I'm having a conversation with you.
No, absolutely. Our conversation is confidential. So what you tell me stays with me. We're not going to share it, any of that. So absolutely. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah. So
Let me know
okay.
how to be proceed. Yeah, I don't mind
Okay. Yeah. Let's
getting to
plan on
understand more.
maybe our after hours best for you. I'd
Yeah,
love to
that's
talk.
better.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to send a calendar invite and then I'll get on you can get on my calendar. I'll call you then. Does that work?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. Thanks,
Thanks
Mike.
for your time, Praveen. All right. Bye bye.
All right. Candidates are easier to call, right?
Yes and
I don't
no.
know. I mean, I'm just
I
asking you.
think
Yeah.
candidates, it just depends. I think when you call them, because some days you catch them on a day like, man, I'm glad you called because I can't stand it here. I'm ready to go. And then other days it's like, you're the 12th recruiter to call me, click, I'm done. So it can be very difficult, but yep. So,
All
but it
right.
can't,
Oh,
yeah. And that's the beauty of what we do is when we actually help a company and we help a candidate, both parties win if it's a better scenario for both of them. And
yeah. Yeah.
that's what we say a lot of times is we would love to just see simply, is our opportunity better than what you already have? And if it is,
Yeah.
great. If it isn't and yours is awesome, then good, you now know. So anyway.
I get it. I get it. Cool. Cool. All right. Okay. Anything else to share, Jacob, on that call? Anything that you would like to add on?
No, I think you did a great job.
Right.
Stay in the pocket.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go to the next call then. Jacob is going to call me. So, yeah, head of sales, correct?
Yeah, head of sales at does Outplay a lot of trials or not really? Mostly sales
Sorry?
led.
Outplay is sales led.
No,
Yes.
it's not. The trial motion doesn't really generate much revenue. You're saying they sign up for free. Not a lot of free trials.
Not much.
Not a priority. Okay, it's mostly outbound.
Outbound is definitely a channel that works for us. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
Right.
so very little inbound is what you're saying.
No, we have inbound, but outbound also, considering Outplay as a tool itself helps outbound reps, right? So
let's say that let's pretend that Outplay did have a lot of trials and you were getting plenty of inbound traffic to your site.
Yeah. Okay. We have a lot of trials that way. Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm pushing my backstage. All right. Let's go.
Ring.
Hello.
Praveen, Jacob from ServiceBell. How's it going?
That's good. You're calling from where?
From ServiceBell, as in ding. This is a cold call. Do you want to hang up on me, or can I tell you why I'm calling?
All right. I'm a sales rep myself. Sales was a sales rep, so I don't mind listening to you.
Okay. Thanks for the empathy. You're gonna roll the dice. Hopefully you get lucky. The reason why I'm calling you is I can tell that you have. Can you hear that in the background or no? Sorry. Rule number one of cold calling is don't do it next to a highway, but someone on the motorcycle decided to be very loud. So anyway, the reason why I'm calling you is I can tell that you guys have plenty of traffic on your site and you have a free trial motion.
Yeah.
What I understand, a lot of trials will sign up, poke around, and then they won't convert to paid. They won't activate and they never come back.
Correct.
So I can let you know when a high value trial signs up for your app. I can show you all of them in real time in the app and allow your sales team to actually call these people at the perfect time before they leave and even activate them with screen takeover, almost like having Zoom in the website and access to all of your best leads in real time.
What do you mean by a high value lead? How do you know that it's a high value lead?
That's a good question. So one way is by the page that they're on, maybe your pricing page, but I imagine in your sign up flow here, you have certain criteria. I mean, do you have a system internally based on product usage or maybe certain parts of your app, like an upgrade page, or maybe a place where they get stuck often, like a place to import contacts? Like, is there a place where you find a lot of friction in your onboarding process?
Yeah, I mean, see, we don't find friction, but we kind of know usage. We have a heat map, so which kind of tells us at the back end for the sales rep saying that which parts of the app they've spent more time on.
Right. If you could describe maybe like, let's say 3 things that would tell you it's a very high value trial, what would it be? Like a very, either let's say high likelihood to convert that you'd want to pounce on, or maybe a high likelihood to not convert that you'd want to try and save. I'm not sure which one you care about more, but what would be like three signs or symptoms of that you could, from the product usage or maybe employee count or anything like that?
So I think the first thing is, since Outplay is a tool for outbounding, if they connect the mailbox, that's number one. If they create a sequence is basically a set of steps for outbounding. So if they create a sequence, or number 3, if they send out an email, it means that they're serious about the tool. It means that they are evaluating it the right way.
Okay, so this is the kind of person that you'd want to potentially have a conversation with.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so what I could do is, again, it's easier if you see it. Maybe if you want to, I can show you now quickly, or maybe we set some time, but I could essentially show your sales team a live feed of every single trial that's in your app right now that has all 3 of those criteria met, and alert them in Slack when let's say someone connects an email.
But Jacob, I think today we use something like, say, a Mixpanel, which already does that, right? I mean, there are alerts that goes to Mixpanel when they connect the mailbox. There's a trigger that goes to Mixpanel.
Right.
We use Mixpanel at the backend, right? And our sales team also has access to Mixpanel. I'm not too sure if you have heard of Mixpanel, but then it gets all the 3 alerts, right? And if all the 3 alerts are green, it means it gives a signal to the sales rep that, hey, it's a good prospect that they should not let go, and they should use all channels to connect.
So how are you currently engaging with those trials then now? I imagine Outplay and maybe a few other systems to try and engage these people?
Yeah, see, I mean, like I said earlier today, Outplay also creates a sequence of anytime there's an inbound lead, it gets added to an Outplay sequence automatically. So sales rep immediately on their dashboard are able to see the activity against that rep. So let's say Jacob at ServiceBell.com signs up for a trial. It gets automatically added to a sequence. So the sales rep immediately calls them or emails them saying that, hey, looks like you signed up for a trial. And then that's where, they go on.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I often get called. I actually had a situation like this at Seamless. It sounds like right now, just so I understand your situation, once someone's qualified based on mixed panel triggers, it's automatically enrolled, let's say with a webhook into a sequence and Outplay, and then reps can engage.
Correct.
Okay. So I had this happen to me. Do you know how long it usually takes them to actually reach out, or like what I guess I'm trying to understand what is the connect rate and book rate out of 100 trials that are good? How many of them actually will book a meeting with you after you engage them?
About less than 10%, I would say.
Less than 10%.
Yep.
So what if I told you that by calling them in the app while they're still there, you can get a 35% connect rate?
But it'll be too early, right? I mean, they wouldn't understand what to do. It takes them a day or two for them to understand what Outplay is going to do for them, right? So what's the point in calling them immediately?
It's calling them immediately once they reach your criteria, but it's not only the time that you're calling and the response time. It's also with full context of the product. If you go to our site now, I could quickly show you, or if you want to schedule time later. But the agent not only can connect with them over a call in the app, the agent can also see their screen, take over their screen, navigate the user around the app. Let's say they're having a question or a problem. It's like almost like having a sales rep sitting next to the user in the same room and walking them through the tool. Like if you had, you're basically giving your customers world-class support. You're able to unlock and unblock them from value by getting them at the perfect time while they're in the app and having full context of the screen and what's going on to help walk them through.
All right. Okay. But then, today I'm not too worried about the, time. I'm definitely worried about costs and budget because, I need to onboard my reps onto another tool. It's going to cost me also, right? I mean, today, market conditions aren't great. I'm cutting my budgets on tools, right? So what's it going to cost me?
It's a great question. It's hard for me to tell you right now, but I can tell you that the call that I want to book with you is not a sales call. It's just a call for me to understand your current situation better. And I think if we were on this call, it sounds like cost is important to you. What I would love to do is understand how many trials you're getting, how many you're converting, how much they're worth to you. And I guarantee I can show you a projection that would help you see why this would be probably one of the best returns on your money that you could spend.
Is it user-based licensing? Is it agent-based licensing?
It's user-based, and so you can just engage these trials as much as you want and unlock a lot of value without the price ramping up with it.
Okay, who's the closest competition you have, if you don't mind?
Closest, I'm sorry?
Competition you have? Some similar tool?
In terms of, well, really any, are you asking in terms of the feature set or in terms of the budget we compete for? Because
feature set, if somebody can do something similar.
Probably qualified there, but they're for massive enterprises on Salesforce. They cost 80 grand and a year at least. And they actually don't have much of a in product use case. They're mostly for the top funnel of your site. ServiceBell has feature parity, but we're much less expensive. And we focus more on trying to help product-led companies with a product-led sales motion to convert trials to paid in the app. So our focus is a bit different.
Okay. So Jacob, to be honest with you, I'm not too sure if this is something that's going to be useful, but I don't mind hopping on to see what it can do for us. What ServiceBell can do for us, right?
Do you have your calendar handy? Maybe we could talk tomorrow or the next day.
Let's do Friday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, 10 a.m. Pacific. Great. Awesome. I have your email on file, so I just shot you an invite. Do you see it?
Yeah, and if you can also send me something across to read, that will also be interesting so that I'll be ready, or I'll probably invite somebody else also for the call.
Sure. Yeah, classic. Happy to send over some more information. I have a cool overview video I could send. Mind me asking who you think who might be relevant so I can better prepare for the call?
I'm not too sure who's available, but generally I'll bring somebody who's probably going to be using it. Probably one of the account executives or SDRs. Yeah, I'll bring one of them.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Any end users, generally people that care about this would be product, marketing, sales, but obviously you know better than me. So looking forward to chatting with you and anyone else you want to bring in.
Sure, Jacob. Thanks. See you on
Appreciate
Friday.
it. Take it easy. Bye.
I think I was a little tough asking too many questions. Yeah.
Okay. You got to fight for it,
Praveen's tough customer, man. Wow.
I actually want to say that I cold called the CRO of a company that has this exact. They have tons of inbound trials, and at the end of the call, he was like, "I'm probably not going to buy it, but I'll take a demo." And then he ended up buying, and he ended up being one of my customers. So You never know.
Nice.
I mean, I don't mind seeing tools, honestly speaking, right? Because a lot of
Right.
people reach out to me because of my tag of being in the founder's office. They reach out to
Right.
me, right? I mean, not because I was in sales, but I'd like to really see if something adds value. But like you said, right, Jacob and Mike, I think it's a value prop that needs to be positioned right. That should intrigue me to at least come and say, hey, what is that you guys do, right? What is that you
Mhm.
have? Even if I'm able to do 10% more than what I can do with a tool, I wouldn't mind spending, right? So, however bad the situation might be, right? However bad my bank balance might be, if it's going to add value, and that's where it all matters. Yeah.
For
Cool,
sure.
cool, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, before we quickly see how this call went, just a reminder to all of those listeners, please drop in names to let us know who's winning this call battle. Yes, Mike, what's your take on the call? Anything, any words from you about the call that Jacob did to me?
No, I liked Jacob's perseverance, because he kind of hung in there. You're a tough customer. At some point I was thinking like, just hang up, just like be done, go to the next
Yeah.
call. But I liked he slowly, kept kind of chipping away, and you finally at the end like, okay, let's do it. And I like that persistence. But he kept asking questions and throwing out ideas, so I just like that part. So.
Yep, yep. Nice. So, I mean, one more thing around pricing, right? I mean, is it bad to rather, is it like, why not call out the pricing and say this is what it is? But then, we want to understand a little more as to how we add value, because most of the times the product pricing is available on the website. I think even, ServiceBell, I see that there is a pricing page. Yeah. So then why would you not want to call out the price?
It's a good question. People see our pricing page; it is available. This kind of use case is still more custom. It's not. It's like a bit more of the end product use case has a lot more custom development work we'd have to do in some cases to be able to connect like with your existing systems and product and whatnot. Not a ton, but still some. So it's just a bit more of a lift to get off the ground. So that affects things. I also think, especially on a cold call, I would be, if they were on my site, I'd be happy for them to look at pricing, because then I can call them and show, and then,
You
hey, you're on the
immediately,
pricing page. Here
yeah,
I am.
correct.
And then that's fine. But on just a cold call with someone who's lukewarm, I don't want to spit out giant numbers and make them go, no way, before I try and establish some value. So I try to
Makes
kind of
sense.
walk around it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
there's
also,
also a question that, yeah, sorry, go ahead,
I
Jacob.
say that it seems like now, like if I was on a real cold call, I would have said our pricing's on our website if you want to look at it. And then they would have gone to the site to look at it. And then I would have called them. So it seemed like that wasn't appropriate for this mock cold call. But had it been a real live cold call, I would have said, just go to the site and you can
Yeah,
see it for
yeah, yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
And I would get
Correct.
alerted that someone's on the
You
site, and then I would just call
immediately,
them. And then boom.
I get it. I get it. It works in your favor if you actually ask somebody to go on the site. Yeah, I get it. I get it. All right. So somebody has a question here, right? I mean, not sure why salespeople give out right away on the call asking if they want to hang up or is it a bad time to call. I would definitely suggest getting rid of that approach. I mean, Mike and Jacob, you've been seasoned cold callers, right? So when you say, hey, is it the right time to call or should I hang up? Is that a bad opener, or why would you say that that's opener still works for you guys, right?
Considering I use that opener a lot, I guess I'll speak to that. It's one I was using.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the persona. And also, by the way, I don't know who said that, but it's a lot more important how you say things than what you say. And like your tonality and your inflection and your pausing and whatnot has way more
Absolutely.
impact. I mean, 10% of communication is words and like 90% is vocal tonality and body
Correct.
language.
Correct.
And so if you consider who I'm cold calling, which is salespeople, I'm generally calling people that manage cold callers. And so it's like they know that their reps get hung up on all the time. And I'm kind of leveraging actually, Praveen even said it. I'm a salesperson too. I'm kind of leveraging the empathy factor of being like, come on, dude, like you cold call too. You've cold called for years. You manage cold callers. Your reps, you're an SDR manager. You're basically a therapist for your sales reps who tell you about, oh my God, I got hung up on again. So when I go, this is a cold call. Do you want to let me know, do you want to hang up on me or do you want to roll the dice or whatever? Another line I would say is this is a cold call, but I figured you'd be open to it being in sales. I'm essentially like prompting them, and if they hang up on me after that, they're kind of just like not someone I want to talk to anyway. It's like, come on, dude, you work on this business. And if they usually what happens for me, I track this. I have a disposition to track my conversion rates. 90% of the time it works and they laugh, and then I get into the pitch. But that's my persona. If you cold call like a VP of engineering, they just hang up on you. So it really depends on who you're calling.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes, Mike, yeah, what's your take on that?
For a number of years, I always used to say, have I caught you at a good time? And the answer was always no. So a number of years ago, I switched it. And so now I always say, have I caught you at a bad time? Because usually 8 times out of 10, they'll say, well, I got a minute. What do you got? So I've got 1 minute now. So now I have a minute to get in and saying, here's exactly why I'm calling. And I try and get to the point. I don't know. That's just me personally. I like to have that sort of attitude where I'm kind of asking. I know it might be easier to get in and just, give them the whole pitch right away as soon as they say hello. But me personally, I can't stand that. If somebody says, the opposite, like, hey, is this a good time? I may say, no, I got a meeting in 2 minutes. Like, what do you need? And then, well, okay, I'll talk to you, versus just give me the whole pitch. At that point, I'm looking at my watch and I'm just figuring out how can I quickly say no.
Absolutely,
I'm done.
Absolutely.
So
I get that. I mean, I'm with you on that. Like how I started this cold call battle, right? I said all of us probably have our own style, and then we got to do A/B testing. Yeah, why A/B test only on emails? A/B test on calls also.
Yep.
Like how Jacob said, he has a note of all the call dispositions. How is it going? So if only we are able to understand what works for us, what are we comfortable with, that obviously leads to a good conversation, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So while we are at it, probably I have one last question to both of you. Before that, once again, a reminder to all of you to please, go ahead and then select the winner for the cold call battle. One last question to both of you. How do you handle this objection? We don't have budget right now, especially in this condition. Quick 1 minute from both of you on how do you handle that objection? We don't have a budget.
I would say, well, hey, I get it. Just like I think everyone should have a banker, a real estate agent, and a plumber, you should have a good recruiter. And so you should just simply know who we are. You may not need us today, but you may need us down the road. And I want you to think of us when you need us.
Lovely. All right. Okay. Jacob, anything that...
So for me, I really try and decide if it's legit or if it's like just their smokescreen. And, if it's someone that actually has no budget and I can tell, like, yeah, we just laid off like half of our employees, I'm like, okay, probably don't want to try and sell to you right now. You know what I mean? Because, maybe I'll follow up with you down the road. It's never, but generally speaking, if I'm going for a deal, then okay, not a good, you don't have budget. Great. Sorry. And then just move on. You can't force someone's hand. I mean, they have a hand they're dealt. If they actually have budget and I can tell that they're sort of just trying to brush me off, then I would say, really, it sounds like it's not a priority for you right now. I'm curious what is, and get them talking more about their priorities, and then loop my value prop back in. Because really, what they're saying is this is not a priority for me. That's what no budget means. Correct. If they're brushing you off, and so if I can tell that they're brushing me off, I would try and figure out what they do care about and see if I can tie my value prop into it. If not, then I would let them go because it's just not a good fit. And if so, then I would try and make a case, which you probably saw on my cold call with you a few times, where I was like, no, this is why it's valuable. This is why it's valuable. Boom, 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 boom.
Agree. All right. Lovely. All right. So Raviraj has a question. How does asking, I hope I'm not interrupting something important, is that a good opener? Considering that you're going to be calling during work hours, you're always going to be, interrupting something important, even if it's a break, that's something important for them. So I'm not too much in favor, but like I said, Ravi, do test it out. I mean, you might get a couple of positive responses, couple of negative responses. Yeah.
I personally think that the question, I don't think that asking what is a good opener is a good question because it doesn't really matter that much. Like, it's really about how you say it. And that's, again, you should just be short and just be calm and don't be a robot. If you sound like a robot or you're totally terrified, you're going to be done. If you're just a person and you're cool and you're calm, then it doesn't really matter what you say. It's much more important about how you say things and the value prop. So I wouldn't again, my very first thing I said in the very beginning, what's the most important thing is just take action. Do 100 openers. And if it doesn't work, change it. But it does not like something to worry about for so long to get stuck. And I don't know the best openers. So I'm not going to make any calls. No, just, I say, how are you? That's like what people say, don't say, but whatever. It's fine. It works for me.
It works for you. Absolutely. All right. Lovely. Let's all get calling. So we have come into the last section, right? So we're going to pick a winner. Before that, I'd like you all to also go to the various assets Outplay has. We have the Call of Fame. Call of Fame is a library of cold calls from specialists, from experts. Massive library, massive learning. So go to outplayhq.com/library. You can also see it in the comment section. And if you would like your cold call to be featured, feel free to reach out to us. We have a Google form. The link of that also is shared by Ritik, my colleague. So please go ahead and then share your cold call. You could also always reach us out at support@outplayhq.com or send us a LinkedIn message, right? All right, now, as the last 60 seconds before we pull down the curtain, it's time to announce a winner based on what the audience have chosen. Today's winner for Cold Call Battle, just because of today, is going to be Mike. Mike, you win the Cold Call Battle for today. Lovely, lovely having you, Mike.
Thank you.
Cheers for
Thank
you.
you.
Cheers.
Yes, yes,
Cheers, Jacob. I think
yes. Great job,
both of
Jacob.
you did a great job. Once again, thanks everybody for participating in Cold Call Battle from Outplay. Lovely having you all. We hope to see you soon with one more Cold Call Battle. Take the learnings, and as Jacob said, as Mike said, stay positive, put them into action, keep calling, get those meetings, and achieve your sales goal. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the day. Thanks,
All
Jacob.
right.
Thanks, Mike, as
Thanks,
well.
Praveen. Thanks, Jacob.
Cheers.
All right.
Easy.
Bye, guys.